The Spurs, well, they're on the road again.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you're having a great day. And as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things silver and black. Part of the #1 sports podcast network right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank y'all for that. And keep on subscribing, everybody. Wherever you get your favorite podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go subscribe ASAP. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Go and download the Game Time app right now. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. What are we talking about today? On the road again. Yeah, they are. You'll start singing that song. You know what song I'm talking about here. But the Spurs are back on the road again. If you thought the last roadie was tough, this one not only can be longer, but maybe just a little splash more of toughness. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look ahead. We're going to skip the Orlando game because the Orlando game was yesterday. So we're going to look from that, basically for Cleveland game moving forward. The possibility of even them staying out longer. Yeah, I'll talk about that. And then catch up some Spurs news. I know it's early, but the Defensive Player of the Year award race is slowly but surely heating up. The usual suspects are involved. We'll get at that. And then former Spurs CP3. Yeah, Clippers. I don't know. My opinion, I think they did them dirty. We're going to talk about that and more. Let's go to bring in our guest, who will never do dirty here on Locked On Spurs. He is Raul Dominguez, coming with us today via audio. He is with the AP Sports. Raul, how you doing?
Doing great.
Follow him on X, everybody, at Dominguez Cinco. You do that right now. See, that's why he's not on camera today, because he's sad. He wants y'all to follow him. And the more he gets follows, then he'll turn his camera on. He's been crying, everybody, so he doesn't want to see the red eyes. I'm kidding. He's not crying. He probably doesn't even care. So,
watching the Demon Hunters. So we're.
Oh man, don't bring up the moment. Don't bring up the moment. Don't be the spoiler. As always, we thank Raul for coming on, taking time out of his busy schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. We'll take him video or audio. We don't care. We're just glad to have him with us. Raul, how you doing?
Doing really good.
Yeah. Can you believe it? The Spurs are on the road again. Here we go again.
Yeah, this is a strange schedule. I was talking to one of the photographers. Takes pictures. They're talking about it's just the strange schedule. I mean, this Dan Weiss, Spurs Radio was posted on Twitter about it. I think he said that Spurs were in town for 45 hours.
My goodness,
was going back out on the road, and it's just an odd schedule. I mean, you kind of expected that before with the rodeo schedule, the way it was before, but I don't know. This one just seems really, really odd.
Yeah, it was just so abrupt because they were on the 4-game roadie. They came back for one game a couple of nights ago versus Memphis. Good thing you got the W. And then within less than 48 hours, they had to play Orlando last night.
Yeah.
In Orlando. And then now they got a heavy hitter. I mean, you thought Orlando was going to be tough, and they got Cleveland next. So, yeah, let's go and do that, everybody. Let's go and get the show going here. Yeah, we're going to preview this current road trip that they're on. Again, reminder, they did play Orlando last night. We're going to skip that and just move forward. There is a possibility they can come home a little early, but that could be bad news. We'll explain in just a few seconds. All right, so Raul, let's look at the schedule here. They got the Cavaliers tomorrow in Cleveland. Then they travel to the Pelicans. Then they go to Los Angeles to take on the Lakers in that NBA Cup quarterfinal game. And this is where it gets interesting. All right, so we'll try to make this as very simple as we can. The other night, we were in the media room, Raul. We're all of us trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen? What? All right, so here's how it happens, everybody. If the Spurs lose to the Lakers in the quarterfinal cup, they'll come back home and they'll take on the Wizards. All right, so there's a potential this road trip could end in Los Angeles. But that's a bad thing, though, because if they lose against the Lakers, that means they're out of the NBA Cup race. It is a knockout round. But if they win, they advance and they go to Las Vegas. That might extend the road trip because they'll be in Las Vegas for the NBA Cup finals and all that good stuff. So that being said, Raul, just a quick thing. We'll just play with the fact that what the schedule gives us. So they'll come back at home to the Wizards. but then they go back on the road with a game in Atlanta and a game at Washington. So, yeah, another situation. They'll come home for one game, then leave again. Raul, do you think this is really going to test the Spurs early, especially the young guys like a Dylan Harper?
Yeah, I think it definitely will. Like I said, it's just a crazy schedule. I mean, being at home, is a lot different than being on the road. Kind of sleep in your own bed and your own little routine. And doing all that travel and they obviously get to do shoot arounds and such, but you can't really have a really solid practice on the road, or you can, but it's really difficult to do.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with Spurs and their great practice facility and all the little things that they have there that they can use to help them work on their games and do rehab and train. So you're losing out on that. But with this young team, I think it also helps them in terms of this group is really, really close. I mean, this is was it what was the name of that Patty Mills group? There's a Coffee Gang.
The Coffee Gang. Yeah.
To me, it reminds me of that, just sort of the tightness, the closeness that they have. So in a way, it's good because, they're getting to spend even more time together, which maybe probably drives some of the Spurs crazy with Keldon probably yelling the whole time they're on the road. But, it just adds to that chemistry they have. And the chemistry is just off the charts right now.
It is. It really is. And we'll break down game by game in just a minute and give a prediction probably in the next segment here. But just an overall thought. I had just some reaction to the road trip. So I had a chance to talk to Lindy Waters right before they left to Orlando. And we were talking about, the road trip. And he knew. He was telling me, he was like, yeah, he goes, got a good one coming up, meaning like the length of it. So then I had reminded him, I go, well, it could be busted up, if y'all could come back if something doesn't go right in Los Angeles. And he looked at me and he says, Jeff, he goes, we don't want to come back home. We don't want to come back home. So they're amped. This team is amped for that NBA Cup game versus the Lakers. So they're embracing this road trip and possibly it being extended if they do win. Overall, this is going to be another tough test for the Spurs. You got the Cavs. They're not a pushover. Who else you got on there? Say what you will about the Wizards. They can be a little scary at times. The Hawks, after that one home game, again, if they come back, that's going to be a tough out because you cannot forget. Remember that Hawks game in San Antonio? Did you look at the box score? Didn't the Hawks out rebound the Spurs and out shoot the Spurs and make more threes than the Spurs, and the Spurs survived that game?
Yeah. So I think they shot. I was going to say, I think they shot like 58% or something. It was a crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So this road trip is not to be taken lightly. I mean, again, sure, the Pelicans are on there. Zion, shocker, is out again due to injury. But nevertheless, another test for this Spurs team. Overall, y'all heard it before. It brings the team together, being on the road, being away, and they bond together. I was in the locker room after the game versus Memphis, and they were talking about dinner plans, where they're going to go, where they're going to do this. So you can see that bonding forming right before my eyes in that locker room. And I think this is going to be good for this team. And again, Raul, as of this recording, no Wemby, no Castle. And in a way, I know it's bad. You want to have your big guns out there, but in a way it's good because I like the fact they're learning life without Wemby and Castle. In other words, they're not training wheels. Like the training wheels are off for a while. And they can get stronger as individual players, stronger as a team, and know how to complement Castle and Wemby when they get back. And what better way to form that than on the road? Your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously when Wemby and Castle come back, the roles change, and but there's going to be times, obviously injuries happen, foul trouble happens. Maybe a team decides, doing what they're doing with Wemby, double and teaming them. When they're not on the court, it gives other guys a chance to, work on their, hone their games and get a little bit more confident. I mean, you look at Carter Bryant starting to shoot really well. He's getting those minutes in there. You look at Devin. Devin's mid-range game is like he's getting a DeMar DeRozan level type mid-range game. So this helps them out as well. Obviously you got to step up when Wemby or Castle are out, but it also gives them a chance to improve their game and gives other teams sort of a look at what's possible. So, maybe they see what's happening. Maybe they don't double team or triple team Wemby as much because they know Spurs have other weapons, or they have to, hey, we got to be mindful of this mid range game. Like, this improves the offense a lot, and then defensively, I think at times you have this monster 7'4" player that's going to be a great help defensively. If the guy that you're guarding happens to get past you, but with Wemby gone, you got to put a little bit more emphasis on your own individual defense, so that helps them.
Yep.
Helps their size as well. They don't have that sort of they don't have Wemby to fall back on. So I think that with Wemby and Castle gone, it helps the Spurs grow even more, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right. So we'll get back. Let's look at the games. Let's try to predict what the win-loss would be for the Spurs in this upcoming road trip that just started yesterday in Orlando. We're going to do that and more right here on Locked On Spurs with Mr. Raul Dominguez. Make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5 and follow me on X at Jeff G. Spurs Zone. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood Prediction Markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood Prediction Markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Raul Dominguez with the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. He's joining us audio today, which is fine by me because I love chatting with my good friend and them pregame and everything. His seat view is better than mine, everybody, and I'm jealous. I saw it. So we got a primo spot there.
Yeah, that's a nice spot. I got to sit next to Coach Alvin Gentry.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did. Yeah.
He's scouting for the Sacramento Kings. Usually where I sit is they usually put scouts there as well. And it was just sort of funny watching Alvin with some of the plays and stuff. And you could tell he was impressed with the Spurs. So.
Oh yeah. I remember, for those of y'all who don't know, a little sneak behind the scenes, usually early in the season, they'll have a game or two where you'll go to your media seat and it's gone. It'll just say like NBA Bulls, NBA Wizards, whatever. It'll use that scout night. So a bunch of scouts will come and scout the Spurs or even the opponent too. It doesn't matter, just the game. And I remember I was talking to one scout. Again, I'm assuming, he's here to talk to Wemby, or at least scout Wemby. And so I just assumed that, Raul, when I went, you're checking out Wemby. And that kind of goes back to what you said in the first segment. He said, no. He goes, I'm here to scout Devin Vassell. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Devin's game is just you can just see the confidence growing. I think, him and Keldon, I think, there's not as much pressure on either one of them, and they're able to flourish a little bit more. And I think their roles are a little bit more defined. I think in the past they were Spurs were looking for that, one sort of step up and sort of be the man, and it's not so much being a complimentary piece for Wemby, just being, another option besides Wemby. So they're both thriving. I mean, I know a lot of talk was, hey, let's trade Devin for this player, or let's trade Keller for this player. But Brian Wright was obviously
for sure
a great general manager. The fact that, he kept both of them, and you see what they both bring, and it's like I said, it's fun to watch.
Absolutely. It really is. It really is. All right, let's go and look at that schedule that the Spurs have. Again, on the road again. I know, I want to sing that song so bad, Ro. I want to sing it so bad. All right. Again, just remind everybody, we're not including the Orlando game because it happened last night. All right, so we'll just move forward. All right, so up next, Raul, Spurs at Cavs. First meeting between the two teams this season. Again, as of this recording, no Wemby, no Castle. What do you think? I mean, they pulled it out against Denver, a loaded Denver team. Cavaliers are just as loaded with youth, athleticism, length. from Garland. The list goes on and on. Is this a possible tough out for the Spurs?
Yeah, I think with both games before the NBA Cup game against the Lakers, I think there's a possibility that maybe they kind of not so much overlook it, but maybe they're so excited about the NBA Cup that maybe it kind of gets away from them. But then there's also the possibility that that which I'm sure the Spurs are hoping, and Coach Mr. Johnson is hoping that they take this as sort of like Pop would always talk about, kind of the beginning of the year was kind of the beginning of the year, but then you start ramping up as you go to the playoffs. Maybe the Spurs do that. They realize they got the NBA Cup coming up, so these two games, to hone their the way they play, just in preparation for what essentially is sort of a postseason like game for them coming up in the Lakers. So with the Cavs, Cavs, great team. Donovan always does well against the Spurs, so it's gonna be a tough one, especially at Cleveland. I'm not sure on that one. I know the Cavs are favored, but to me, it's a toss-up.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately I'm gonna go with the Cleveland. I want to be surprised. I mean, if you had told me they're gonna go to Denver and beat the Nuggets and Joker without Castle Wemby, I would have said, "No, you're smoking the good stuff." But they did it, and you can't discount this Spurs team. But I'm gonna give the Cavs this game. Move on. After that, it'll be Monday, December 8th. Spurs at Pelicans. Again, no Zion. And again, as a reminder, everybody, because there's gonna be that one Locked On Spurs fan commenter. Raul, you didn't mention this without Wemby and Castle. All right, no Wemby, no Castle as of this recording. This should be the most winnable game, right? This should be, right? What do you think?
It should be, but New Orleans always plays well against the Spurs. Willie Green's a great coach, and he always has them, always play hard. And I realize that Zion's gone, and I don't mean any offense to this, but he's been gone a lot. So New Orleans is obviously would prefer Zion to be on the court, but I think they're kind of used to him, or as used to him as you have to be on the court. And you got Murphy out there, and Jones and Alvarado, and
they're scrappy. They're definitely scrappy.
They got a tough team. I think Spurs should win this one, but it's not going to be an easy game. I mean, Pelicans are great defensively, so it's really going to test the Spurs. And then also they're also good 3-point shooting team. So
that they are.
Spurs have had some trouble with that. I think that's going to be a chance for them to sort of work on their 3-point defense.
Yeah. I'm going to the Spurs this game. I think depleted Pelicans team. No, I don't think it'll be easy, but I do think the Spurs should be able to pull it out in the end. It's a shame DeJounte got hurt, man. That's a shame. It would have been great to see him play out there against his former team. I think the last time the Spurs Pelicans played, it was in San Antonio, and I think DeJounte caught up with some of the players that did a jersey swap. So it's good to see DeJounte. Again, he's also not going to play due to I think it was a season-ending injury, wasn't it? Yeah.
DeJounte's a great guy. Was it?
He is
one of those players we'd love to see back with the Spurs, but I don't know if that's going to happen because of the youth and the talent they have. Spurs have at guard, but I could see DeJounte eventually making it back with the Spurs, maybe late in his career, or maybe even as a coach or front office person.
No, good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I miss talking to him with ever since his ending with Dude. I remember that. That was a good game, dude. Yeah, dude. But yeah, so I got the Spurs winning that one. So right now, I have it as 1-1. Well, after the Orlando game, so 1-1, and then Raul has them 2-0, I believe. Right, Raul? Yeah, I'm getting the W.
Well, I had it as a toss-up.
Toss-up. Okay.
I'd have to go with Cleveland. If he had me press, I'd say Cleveland.
All right. Then the next game, the big one, is the Spurs at Lakers, the NBA Cup quarterfinal. It's a knockout round, so you lose, you go home, you win, you advance. If the Spurs do win, they advance and go to Las Vegas. And if they do lose, well, season continues. This one's going to be interesting. It's a primetime game. I think it's literally on Prime, I believe. In Los Angeles, bright lights, star-studded, Lakers, LeBron, Luka. Austin Reeves, that trio can be a handful. Man, what do you think? You think Wemby will be back in time for this game?
It's
jeez.
I obviously Wemby and Castle both want to play in this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I was kind of looking at the timeline. If you look at how long it took Dylan to back, I was kind of judging it off of that, and it took I think it was Dylan 24 days to back, time between the games, and 24 days. I figured out that 24 days for Wemby and Castle would be the 8th and the 10th.
Okay.
To me, I think there's a good chance they'll be back for the Lakers. If they are, obviously it's going to be I think probably the best matchup of the NBA Cup. But yeah, obviously Spurs going to be cautious, but would love to see Wemby and especially Wemby back. Just to give him a taste of kind of a postseason feel.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about that in yesterday's Locked On Spurs, just about the NBA Cup and the Spurs in the tournament, and just how much as a boost it is to their confidence. Sure, yes, the money is nice, and the players are aware of that, and it's a very big motivating factor. But it is a chance for this young Spurs team to get something of a taste of some sort of meaningful game. Again, not to say the 82-game schedule is meaningless; it's meaningful, but this is a little heightened. It's a little heightened. They got that stack of cash waiting for them if they win. So yeah, there's a lot on the line. Pride, proving out to the NBA that hey, we can go to Los Angeles and we can beat LeBron and Luka and Reeves and that whole squad there. But again, the Lakers are a handful. It's not just those three guys. They got DeAndre Ayton is playing pretty good this year. JJ Redick gets them fired up. The list goes on and on. So all in all, man, you know what? Give me the Spurs. Sorry, give me the Spurs. I think the Spurs are going to really get up for this one. I can see LeBron being like, it's just whatever. He literally was hanging out with the Phoenix Suns during a play, Raul. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that. No.
No. Oh my! You haven't seen that video clip?
No.
I'm not kidding you. Go. I'll send it to you. There's the recent a Phoenix Los Angeles Lakers game, and Lakers were on offense, and LeBron was having a conversation with their bench. And at first, it looks like maybe they're just beefing and talking trash, and they weren't. They were literally having a chat to the point where JJ Redick had to call not only the attention of LeBron, to get him back into action, but they had to call a timeout. It's wild. I definitely sent it to you, but nevertheless. I just don't know what the Lakers are so Jekyll and Hyde, man. They're so Jekyll and Hyde. One day they look like world beaters, and the next day they look like, what are y'all doing on the court? So give me the Spurs. I got the Spurs advancing in the NBA Cup. But if they don't advance, they'll come back home to the Wizards. So we're going to skip that game. We're just looking at the road games. Then they'll go to Atlanta. But I think that's a perfect way to take the next break. Let's go to take a break. When we get back, let's continue looking at the last couple of road games and then get into some Spurs news right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow my nets at Dominguez5. Let's talk about Game Time World Cup draw. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets usually is going to be the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets in the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Pull up the app and the layout. It'll make it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section. You have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You'll literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. Prices include fees up front, which you're going to love. No last second surprises at checkout. And you get alerts for teams and matches that make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets with every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, Game Time. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Raul Dominguez. He's with the AP Sports. Follow my next at Dominguez5. And we're looking at the Spurs road trip that lies ahead. Now, we're going with the assumption that they beat the Lakers and they're moving on to the NBA Cup Finals. It'll be in Los Angeles. All right. I'm sorry, in Las Vegas, excuse me. But once they resume or if they don't, regardless, however you spin it, they'll then come back and play the Hawks in Atlanta on December 19th, and they finish it out at Washington, December 21. Atlanta, no knock on the Spurs, I'm not, but Atlanta played really, really well versus the Spurs in San Antonio. And I think it was David Jones Garcia night. That's where he just erupted, had himself a game. But this one, my fear is this one could get ugly, Raul, for the San Antonio Spurs. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to, I was going to depend on the NBA Cup as well. Atlanta's playing well, and it's also, Wemby and Castle should both be back by that game. I think that's a game. Yeah. I think that's a game the Spurs can win. I would pick San Antonio, especially like I said, if Wemby and Castle are back, and but again, it also depends on the NBA Cup, how they do. Maybe they go through there and win it all, and maybe are a little more tired. And I'm sorry, I was going to jump back real quick on the NBA Cup. My sort of prediction is I think Dylan Harper is going to have an incredible game against the Lakers. I get the sense that Dylan's obviously been playing great. I think Dylan is the type of player and person, and he has a personality where he loves pressure. And I think he's going to have a huge game against the Lakers. Whether that, translate to a victory or not, I'm not sure. But I think Dylan's going to have just a breakout game where even more people are going to be talking about him after that game.
Yeah, he played phenomenal in that closing period versus Memphis. I mean, a clutch three, clutch drive to the basket, taking on the likes of Zach Edey in the paint. Just tremendous rookie, and he's just scratching the surface. And you know what I liked recently? I forgot which game it was, but I think it was one of the games where he came back and, again, a great game. And then Mitch Johnson was asked about Dylan Harper's play, and he complimented Harper for doing what he did. But I like how Mitch said, but he could have rebounded more. He could have done this a little bit more. I think that's good. I think that's exactly what you need to give this rookie some motivation to get even better, because we know he can do it, and recent games he's proving that. But I'm gonna go with the Spurs in this one. I think it's gonna be a knockout, drag-out fight, slugfest. But I'm gonna go with San Antonio beating Atlanta, and then we got this interesting game at Washington. It's to close out the road trip. I don't know. My fear is that they have a letdown, because whether they advance in the NBA Cup race, come back home, however you spin it, this is like the last game of a long road trip, and my fear is they let the gas pedal a little loose for that game. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think it's going to test their mettle, and Spurs, and obviously want to be consistent. So maybe a game where like what you're saying, maybe the Spurs talk about it or sort of think about, hey, we need to stay locked in. But it's definitely one of the games that could get away from them. Yeah, Washington has a lot of talent, but they just whatever reason they just haven't been able to put it together. That would be a great home win for the Wizards. Especially again, if Wemby's there, like it seems like when teams play against Wemby, it seems like they really want to give Spurs and Wemby their best shot. So, as tough as it's been so far for the Wizards, beating the Spurs at in Washington would be tremendous for them and their fan base. So, yeah, I can definitely see it as a game that gets away from the Spurs.
Yeah, and you hope it doesn't happen. And De'Aaron Fox even talked about it after the Spurs home win versus Memphis in the locker room, saying, hey, had they lost that game versus Memphis, he felt that was a game that would cost him down the road. Like, man, he goes, we should have never lost to that Memphis game. And so he really felt strongly about that win and how they, they rallied to get the W. I think you see the same situation here. I guess there's good news is the West isn't as top heavy as we thought it would be. It's really just say the Thunder. That's it. But it's the Thunder, Denver. I guess throw in Houston in there, Phoenix, and the Spurs, and that's really about it. The Clippers. They're a mess. More on them later. The Lakers, as mentioned, Jekyll and Hyde. Jazz are the Jazz. Dallas, it's there, but not really a legit threat. So there's some wiggle room if you do drop some games. But look, this is a top 4 team. We know this is a top 6 team at best. Spurs, that is. So you got to get this W. Unfortunately, I think this is the one game they let slip away. So I think we have them. So not including the Magic game, I got them at 1, 2, 3, 4. I am at 5-1 in the next road games. I think Raul, you got them with the same, something like that.
Yeah, because I think they'll. I don't think they'll lose to Washington. I'd say they would win that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the one game that I think that they'd struggle with is Cleveland. So
yeah. Oh, we'll see what happens. All right, let's give you some stats here before we get into some Spurs news here regarding the Spurs and being on the road and taking on some of the best teams in the NBA. Again, not including the Orlando game, everybody. Got to repeat it because one guy comes Raul. The Spurs versus teams with an above 500 record, we're all 5-6. They're a little below 500. Okay, versus teams in the West. Versus teams in the East, they are, I believe they're 5-0. That can't be right. No, yeah, they're 5-0. They're 5-0 against Eastern Conference teams. So that bodes well for the Spurs. Against Western Conference teams, they are 9-6. So again, an above 500 record. And if we're looking at their last 3 road games, not including the game versus Orlando, everybody, the Spurs are 2-1, averaging about 126 points per game in those games. So history's on the Spurs side, some stats are on the Spurs side. Hopefully it is a successful road trip for your San Antonio Spurs. More importantly, they advance in that cup. I think that'd be great. And I was talking to Lindy Waters about this. I get your thoughts on this, Ro. We were talking about the cup. And I asked him, I said, hey, Lindy, you remember when it was first introduced? It was kind of made fun of and poked fun of. But just in a short time, it's now kind of being embraced now. Are you getting that vibe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I know people sort of poke fun at the Lakers for winning the in-season championship. I don't remember what this broadcast I was watching the other night, but they were showing the Lakers in-season championship banner there. I can't remember who it was, or the commentators were kind of chuckling about it. But I think the way that the Lakers approached it and kind of made it a big deal, and that along with the money and sort of how the teams are approaching it, it's become what Adam Silver wanted. It's a great little in-season tournament that people love to watch, and the players are taking it very seriously. So it's exactly what Adam Silver wanted. It's a nice little sort of breaks up the regular season.
It does. Yeah. So hopefully the Spurs will advance in the cup race and don't come back home. That's actually a good thing, Spurs fans. If they don't come back home, that's a good thing because they're representing San Antonio in Las Vegas. All right, let's get some Spurs news real quick. The DPOY race, Defensive Player of the Year race. I get it. Bro understands it's way early. You understand? But according to Poly Market, for those who don't know what Poly Market is, kind of a website you go and it projects like real time statistics, and you can see, just like that, what the market is saying regarding this race. And at last check, Chet Holmgren, OKC Thunder's big man, has a slim lead over Wemby. I believe it's like 31% to about 27, 28% in the race. It's still close, but Raul, I think Wemby gets it once he gets back. Now, you can't deny him that because, in my opinion, Chet would have to have some incredible incredible defensive games once Wemby gets back to overshadow what Wemby can bring. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think it also has to do with how well the Thunder are playing. I think that also has a lot to do with Chet sort of being favorite, and the injuries as well. So, but Wemby's just such a one of a kind sort of defensive presence. Not just his shot blocking, not just his defense, but his presence. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen guys driving into the lane, and normally they put up a shot, and rather than put up the shot, they pass it out or they dribble out like they're hesitating to take the shot because they know even if they have a couple of steps on Wemby, they know he with his athleticism and his reach that he can still get to their full. So I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it would be great if the NBA had some sort of stat to on something like that to where the shots that he that they don't get
intimidation shot, intimidating factor.
Yeah. So, but I mean, Wemby's just such a unique defensive presence. I mean, the shot blocking, yes, incredible, but his timing, his ability to
recover.
To recover. If they fake him out, he's able with his athleticism and his jump and his reach to, maybe you fake him or maybe be able to get a shot off, but he can recover. So to me, I just it's got to be Wemby's. He should have won it last. To me, he should have won it last year, even though he a big part of the season. But this year.
Yeah, I got it as Wemby's once he gets back. It's got to be his. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, if Chet was really that good defensive, I mean, he is. He's a good defensive player, but this projection via the poly market would have been the gap would have been huge, and it's still very, very close. Think about this, everybody. Last year, he still led the NBA in blocks, even being out most of the season. So that's how insane he is. All right. In other Spurs-related news, former Spurs guard CP3, Chris Paul. Yeah, he played last year with the Spurs, played all 82 games, did an admirable job for the Spurs on the court, being that leader and imparting knowledge to the young team. Well, y'all know he then moved on to the Clippers, recently announced that he's going to retire after the season. He wanted to retire a Clipper. That's where he's known, Lob City, all that fun stuff. And, back home, excited to join the Clippers. And then in the wee hours of the night yesterday, or the morning, I should say, the Clippers told him to go home. He pretty much said, you're off the club. Raul, not a good look for the Clippers. Not a good look at all. Here's a guy who's Hall of Fame bound, a legend just in basketball. There were times where last season I was in the locker room with him, and internally I'm thinking, I got to chill out right now and not show it. It's freaking Chris Paul right now I'm talking to. Just not a bad, just a bad look for the Clippers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been such a turbulent season for the Clippers, with the Kawhi Leonard, Steve Ballmer, and the aspiration. Kawhi sort of being a spokesperson, or maybe not a spokesperson, but getting money from aspiration. Just the whole season, and they're struggling on the court as well. And then they traded away their first round pick, so there's a chance, maybe they get the number one pick, but it goes to Oklahoma City, instead.
It's a Paul George deal, remember? That's where it came from.
Yeah, it's just a bad look all around for the Clippers, and this was just added to it. I'm hearing, reading reports that supposedly Chris was a little critical of the way that the team was playing, and maybe some of the coaching staff in the front office, but. That's Chris. I mean,
that's it. Yeah.
When he was here last year, he was very hard on the Spurs, and but the young players, accepted it because they wanted to get better, and that Chris was trying to help them get better, and Chris has been like that throughout his career.
Yes, he has.
There's always been talk about him sort of being overly critical, but Chris is a competitor. Chris wants to win, and if he feels like you're not doing your job or you're not playing well or maybe slacking off, he's going to call you out. So when the Clippers signed him, they had to know.
Yeah, they know what they were getting. Yeah,
that was a Chris Paul they were going to get. So I think even more so than them getting rid of him, is how they did it. They did it while he's on the road, and they do it. I think it was 2:00 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
So just the way they did it as well, just going to leave a really bad taste. I think in everyone's mouth, and Paul is so respected around the league.
He is.
Here's a guy that just wanted to. He talked about it last year. He was hoping to be in LA so he could be with his family, because his family lives in LA with his young sons and his wife, and so he finally was able to make that come true. And he announced earlier, announced last month that this was going to be his last season. So it was a nice way for him to end his career, and then now he did this, and I'm hoping that he signs somewhere else, because you would hate to see such a great career end this way, but. I really, really feel bad for Chris. He really is a nice guy.
He is.
And for it to end this unceremoniously is just, it's just not right.
Absolutely. And last season with San Antonio, I can tell you this much: the Spurs definitely knew that he was a legend. They treated him with respect. He reciprocated. How many times did he tell us in that room, Raul, how happy he is with San Antonio and how it's run. And, he enjoyed being a Spur. He mentioned the players. They respected him. I saw it. I saw it. Even to this season, from Champagne to Castle, they all say, they still using things that Chris Paul taught us. And he is a very good person, nice person. I think you and I went to his introduction conference when they signed him. And I think I remember asking him, like, what do you want to tell Spurs fans? And he said it very clear. He goes, like, whatever you see on the court, that's not me. That's not me. What he was referring to was that competitive side, that fiery side. Like, he's not that jerk in real life. He's just competitive.
Yeah.
He's just competitive. So he wanted to stress that a lot. And it's true. It's true. There were times in the locker room last year where, as I said before on this show, we didn't talk about X's and O's. We talked about his new chips that he introduced to HEB. Just how down to earth he was. So kudos to the Spurs to respecting him. I don't think the Spurs would ever do something like that to a legendary player like that at all.
No. And the other thing he did last year was, he talked about it, during some of his interviews, and the Spurs talked about that. He would tell this young group, you all have a great team, you all just need to learn how to win. And he was always praising them about how much they had, how much he thought that they could, take it to the next level. And he when you have a Hall of Famer like Chris Paul telling you, hey, you're good, you're a great player, you're a great team. I think that did a tremendous was tremendous for this young team. And you start to see, I think he helped Keldon and Devin get even more confident. Castle especially. His help with Castle. So. He was just a tremendous leader last year for the Spurs, and I was kind of thinking, like, it would be great if the Spurs would sign him, but re-sign him, maybe kind of have him close the career out a little bit better. But unfortunately, they're just there wouldn't be a lot of playing time for him.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, and he made it very clear he wanted to play, and the Spurs honored that. He started every game, played all 82, so again, pro on his end as well. And it's just a shame because as of now, if nobody signs him, that's how his NBA career ends.
Yep.
Yeah, if nobody signs him, and teams that I can see them just swinging the fences for him, or not in a bad way, just like, and bringing him in to help out. I can see Dallas. Dallas could use him. I mean, who else? I know I got Dallas up there to throw. Maybe go back to the Pelicans. I'm sorry, Pelicans. The Hornets. Just kind of a circling his career. I don't know.
I don't know, because like I said, the big thing was he wanted to get back home. So maybe the Lakers could sign him. Maybe the Lakers could definitely use him. But like I said, it's just I hope he signs with the team so he can end his career on a better note. It'd be great if he got on a team that maybe made it to the finals, or maybe he wanted
reunion in OKC, huh?
Yeah, he deserves it, but like I said, it's just especially after last season and getting to see him and know him, getting to know him a little bit better. It's just it sucks what happened to him.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, and I echo what you just said right now. Yeah, getting to know him as you did and I did and all of us in that room did. Just not good. I mean, when I saw the news, my first reaction was not like this, man. Not like this. Yeah. Not in the middle of the night on the road where he has to go on social media and pretty much break his own news. He got sent home. Yeah. So, but that's just how, like you said, you summed it up pretty good when you said the Clippers know what kind of player he is. They should have known this. He was there for how many years? Lob City, all those final playoff runs. You should know this how he is, so they should not have acted shy. And then Lawrence Frank definitely should know what type of player Chris Paul is, and he's just a fiery competitor. That's it. Even Popovich, remember Popovich, you would call him a bulldog.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy's just a bulldog, and that's what he is. But I hope this is not how former Spur Chris Paul ends his NBA career. I hope not. So, man, I would love it to see, him win a title. What a way for him to go out, though, if that were to happen. What a way. That'd be awesome. But, yeah, there you have it, everybody. Some quick Spurs news and notes. Raul, what do you got going on for yourself?
Just waiting for the Spurs to come back. So, it's like I said, it's weird. It's because they had, a long road trip recently, and then they come back for one game, and they're back out again, and a chance they may not be back until I'm not talking about a game wise, I'm not just be back in San Antonio until middle of December. So just kind of waiting to see, waiting on I think Wemby and Castle should be cleared, thinking maybe next week, but that's just obviously speculation. But it would be nice to see the Spurs, the full Spurs squad play together. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think they're going to cook once they're close to full power. I think it's just game over, everybody. As Bill Paxton said in Aliens, game over, man. Game over. It might be happening there. All right, Raul. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Whether there's audio or video, we don't care. We have and enjoy Raul taking time out and talk all things silver and black. Once again, make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only listen for all things San Antonio Spurs. Be sure to follow us on Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. You know what to do. Go subscribe ASAP. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Locked On NBA as well. It's on YouTube. They'll catch you up at all things around the association. And we also thank y'all for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the #1 in the nation. Yeah, we thank y'all for doing that as well. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs season continues. I believe we have on deck Locked On Cavs host. Yeah, they're going to come on, and we're going to look at the game, all that fun stuff, preview it, see what the Cavs are up to, maybe get some little intel, a little spy action going. So maybe the Spurs can watch that episode and say, hey, the book is out. We got their book. Locked On Cavs guys spilled the beans. So we'll see about that. But anyway, again, come back for that tomorrow. So for Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.